Welcome to The Truth in This Art. Thank you for tuning in to my conversations at the intersection of arts, culture, and community. I am your host, Rob Lee, and we're brought to you with the support of the fine folks at the Robert W. Deutsch Foundation. Thank you for your generous support. Today, I am super excited to welcome my next guest as part of this interview series around Black Music Month. Today, I am interviewing a Baltimore-based MC renowned for his dynamic freestyling and influential collaborations in the hip-hop community. Please welcome UllNevaNo. Welcome to the podcast.
Yo, hey, thank you, brother Rob. Thank you so much, man. I'm excited about this. Let's get into it, yo. Like, yeah, yo.
And I always say, because I've been doing it more of a habit, right? Of, you know, when I talk to people and I get the visual thing, when I'm wearing glasses, I got to shout out, man. Shout out to the other bespectacled brother on the other end.
Hey, we in here, yo. You know what I mean? My Ray-Bans on fire, you know what I'm saying? Like, we in here.
Hell yeah.
Yo, I embrace my glasses, yo. Like, and then you can switch it up, you know. I got a few frames, yo. So
man, I got 3 pair. These are my pretentious art guy glasses, the Warby Parker. Okay. Then I got like these bougie ass Yves Saint Laurent. I just switched out. It's wild.
You got to switch it up. Word.
So before we get too deep in the conversation, I'm going to give you the space to introduce yourself. And the reason I do this, like, I have my intro. It's a cut and paste. You probably read that somewhere. You probably wrote that somewhere. But often I think introductions and artist statements kind of fall short. It doesn't really get the essence of the person. So tell us a little bit more about you and your work. Give us the rundown, please.
MC UllNevaNo, man. From Baltimore. My story it's kind of crazy, yo. Like, I'm not your typical, you know what I'm saying, MC that like grew up in like one city and I developed the love for this hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I was born in Baltimore. My father was in the military and moved, you know what I'm saying, myself and my brother out to Fort Riley, Kansas. And then from there, man, just being around like so many different like walks of life. Like, you know, when a military base, you got everybody from all over, you know what I'm saying? One melted pot, so many cultures. So eventually I started falling in love with the hip hop. And my pop, he would come back from deployment and he would just have like these big luggages of just mixtapes, yo, like all these mixtapes, bro. But mind you, before that, yo, like he started giving me like tape cassettes, like just to play around, where he would just he wouldn't tell me what the music, the artist was. He would just give me stacks of tape cassettes, allow me to figure it out. You feel me? Like, and from then I remember it was like Heavy D, Too Short, like shit that I wouldn't like listen to like that today. I appreciate it, but I understand that. But then to the mixtape show, it was this Tony Touch. It was a mixtape, I think 55, and it was straight for bootleg, but it was just like, it had like 200 songs on the tape, yo. It had all these freestyles on there, man. And that's when I heard Wu-Tang's Triumph for the first time.
Nice.
And, you know what I'm saying? When I heard that, I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I didn't know that, like, cats can rap like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that just opened up a whole, like, different, you know, rabbit hole, you know what I'm saying? Because I was so used to my pop raising me like funk and soul and stuff like that. But then when I got it, you know what I'm saying, opened up to that shit changed my whole, it was just like, yo, how do these dudes rap like this? It was just like one big science project. And on that mixtape as well was Beats from the East. It had Cannabis, A+, Redman, and I think Freaky Ty on there. Or I think, was it Mr. Cheeks? Yeah, I think it was Mr. Cheeks from Lost Boys on there. But yo, when I heard Cannabis's verse and Redman's verse, I was like, yo, I want to rap like them. Like, it was over after I heard that. And then it was, you know, that sense of wanting to get people to know about this shit. Cause I felt like by me discovering that, I'm like, yo, this is some whole new shit. Like, I'm around my friends, they listening to the typical, you know, stuff that's on TV, you know, or, you know, Rap City, and I'm like, yo, are y'all hearing this shit? And they looked at me like, yo, this dude's a nerd. Like, nobody listens to that shit. And but I was still like dabbling like between, you know, the underground and was popping on, you know, television and all that. So I was still trying to figure it out, man. And then from there on, man, it was just I met all these different walks of life of people that came into my life that actually kind of molded me into loving hip hop, man. Like all from like kind of like being a rebel because, you know, I was raised in a household where there wasn't no cussing. So I would go to school and Cass had the stacks of like the double XL and Source magazines. I'm like, yo, let me hold that. Let me get that off you. You know what I'm saying? Just to study, just to learn. You feel me? And then when I was a freshman in high school, this, mind you, all this was I was in Kansas.
Yeah.
I stumbled upon Big L's story. Like when I heard about Big L, I just kept, you know, seeing like, you know, this guy's story in magazines, man. And I was so intrigued of like how nice he was. It was tragic how, you know, what happened to him, but just how much praise he was getting from his skill level of his pen. That's what I was most impressed of. And I'm just like, yo, I want to study this dude. I want to, you know what I'm saying, like really figure out how his pen works, man. And I remember when I seen the advertisement, for the Big Picture.
Yeah.
Mind you, I couldn't listen to any words with, you know, any apples with cussing. So I hollered at my mom's. I was like, yo, we need to go to Walmart just to see. I didn't even know they had it. I was just like, yo, let's see if Walmart has this album. Yeah. You know, the edited version. Which wasn't bad. Like the edited version of the Big Picture album wasn't that bad, yo. Because you know some Walmart albums, yo, they'll fuck up some raunchy shit.
100%, 100%. But let me intersect real quick. Interject rather. One, I will say like I had the same vibe earlier, like with you know, we would have like different CDs in the crib, and my parents would just like we had like a friggin' like old Coogee rap and Nice and Smooth for whatever reason in the crib. And I'm like, y'all got the CDs of these? How much were these when they came out? Because these, like, you know. And I remember I have an older cousin. It was one of those times where he came through, and this was maybe 93, 94. He bought over Ready to Die. And he was just like, he was talking about me and my brother. He was like, yo, they can't listen to this. This is wild. And the last thing I'll say, because you mentioned, you know, Triumph, right? Wu-Tang Forever was a birthday present for me. It was like my 11th birthday.
Oh, wow.
And I got the double CD for the double tape rather from Circuit City. And I just remember my dad, because my dad's a jazz guy. He was like, yo, that's a lot of whining on here. And I was like, yo, let me live.
Wow.
So I got you.
That's dope, yo. And there's stories like that, man. Stories like that. But yeah, with the whole Big L situation, I remember my freshman year, I listened to that album, The Big Picture, like constantly. Like that's all I would listen to. It was that album and Tyler Quali and High Tech Reflection Eternal. Like those two albums, my freshman year, like that's all I listened to, like constantly. And then after that, yo, my father ended up getting some orders to California. So I was already rhyming, but I was freestyle. I was doing a lot of ciphers, you know what I'm saying? Still kind of rusty, whatever, you know, it was the beginning stages, but I was out there. So then when I moved to California, man, it was a whole nother beast. Like when I moved to Cali, it was literally like gladiator school. Like that's all they did when I went to Cali. Before the first bell rung, cats was battling, ciphering. I never seen anything like it. It was Barstow, California. Shout out to my people out in Barstow and Yermo and all that, man. And how I learned from like this Asian dude that taught me how to like freestyle. Like he taught me how to like stay on point, all these different techniques, man. And it was just wow. Like I never seen anything like it where I never been in the atmosphere. You know, I'm just want to go to my locker, yo. And the cats is like 30 dudes in a circle just going in, just freestyling like off the top. And you will sit there and you will get clowned if you was coming with a written. Like you will get clowned on. You know what I mean? So just from there on, man, I ended up moving to was only in Barstow for like maybe like 3 months. That was like 2001. And then I ended up going to UllnevaNo, California, Silver Valley. And that's when I really started, like, I was like the man. That's how I really started like cooking and just battling it just constantly, man. And then from there on, yo, I was always just battling. Even when I got to Kansas State, like, I ain't go to class like that. I was just rhyming. like it was just one of them things where I was taking it so serious to the point where it was kind of getting in the way of like my studies too. You know what I'm saying? And I was playing ball on top of that, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, yo. And then from there on, yo, after my first year in college, I moved back to Fort Irwin, California. I went to Kansas State for a year. So after that, my pop was deployed in Iraq, and he hit me up, was like, yo, man, you gotta do something, man. You gotta figure something out. And still then I was like still like penning, still working on stuff. I met a good friend that was in the military who gave me my name, You'll Never Know. Shout out to Mischief. Just that perseverance, just to keep going, yo, and like just learning about like different types of MCs. Once I came back, my freshman year in college, my pop was just like, yo, you gotta figure out something. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna move back to Baltimore because it was close to New York.
Yeah.
You know, I want to get this music shit a shot. You know what I'm saying? Like any means possible. Because back then I was trying to get a deal. You know what I'm saying? Like I was trying to get like signed, yo. So I figured, yo, I'm good at battling. Let me just, take it up a notch, man. Came out to Baltimore. And again, it was just one of them things, Rob, from the experience that, from Fort Riley to Cali, the layers of MCs. Now it's on like steroids now because cats in Baltimore are like, I don't think people really underestimate the talent that's out here, yo. Like it was a slaughterhouse when I came out here, and it was just one of them things where cats just had to keep me on point, man. It was like a constant thing. Like when back then, like 2007, it was just always something to do. Open mics, ciphers, battles. It was every day of the week. It was always something to do in Baltimore.
That's one of the things. That's one of the things. Like, and I definitely have this question that's coming up later because we have a mutual connection. So I want to not necessarily switch gears, but insert this in there. So in talking about sort of like what that process, because I hear the pen, I've heard the the influences that are there, and definitely it's heavy on battle, and I can relate in that going to high school here, going to college here, you're around it, and I was just like, yo, and going to city, everybody who would get access to any of the recording gear, any of the sort of like instruments that were there, they were trying to make beats. They were like, yo, I know this is a class for like band. I'm trying to make beats, fam. And I'm trying to sell beats. That's how wild it was. So if you will, talk a bit about sort of your process in crafting a song and putting together a song from sort of like concept to like sort of the execution around it.
Man, usually, man, I won't start actually writing until I have the instrumental. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll sit with an instrumental. If I'm working on a project with one producer, he sent me a pack of beats. I'll sit with an instrumental for a week. You know what I'm saying? Just listening to it, and just vibing to it. And then from there on, whatever I'm feeling, that's just, saying the start of just making something special, yo. Like, and then usually, sometimes it varies, yo. It depends, like, because I'm always writing, and I'll take bits and pieces from like whatever I'm feeling like that I wrote on my phone. That might be the start of it. It may be a line or two, and then from like maybe later on that week, I'll have something. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one of them things, just kind of like depending on the instrumental, yo. But if it's like a banger, like if I get something that's like crazy, I'm writing on the spot immediately.
Oh yeah,
immediately.
There is I feel like this is sort of the lane I'm in. I do the podcast thing. It borders on journalism, storytelling, whatever. But there were three. You know how you have like a fork in the road, so you could have went this way, you could have went that. I feel
Right.
like there's a couple different forks in the road. There is a variant out there, to be nerdy, right? There's a variant out there of me as a rapper, me as a comedian, and me as a painter. That is literally the different variants out there that exist.
Wow,
And
that's dope.
you know, every now and again, and I was my partner, she's an English major, right? And I
Okay.
said this nerdy ass line, and she was like, "That is a multi-layered rap line." Like she was born the same year that rap was a thing. She was like, "Yo, I'm at the same age as rap," and I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So I threw that
That's
line
dope.
to her. I happened to be at some Jamaican spot. When I was thinking about it, and I pulled out the phone, quickly typed it up. I was like, "Nah, that's like a triple entendre. That's got to be in there." And
Ooh.
I told her, she was just like, "All right, that's real wise. That's real good. Good." She's like, "That's you're not gonna have a full song." She's like, "That rap stuff for you is done." I was like, "Yeah, I'm 39. It's over. I can't have rap hoop dreams at nearly 40. That's dead."
The piggyback off of that, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying, off the ageism, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I think that's not talked about enough, yo, because yo, I'll be 38 this August. You
yeah.
feel me? And I've been doing this for a long, long time, yo. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like I'm at the point where I don't want to give up on it because it's fun to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's to the point now there's cats is like in the 40s, yo, that's making a good living off of this, yo. You know what I
Like
mean?
all the
Like you
dudes in
can't,
Griselda are like 40.
yeah, you can't make a good music, you can't make a living off of this, yo. And I think like in the beginning, I had my times where I was like, yo, at 30, I'm stopping. At 35, I'm stopping. Like I'm gonna put like a time limit, like, yo, and then it's gonna pop off.
Yeah.
Quitting. I'm about to get me a career. But
I'm gonna try
also
this
it's
accounting
like,
shit for a while.
yeah, but yo, also it's like, yo, and I tell everybody this, yo, don't let like social media, yo, don't let rappers fool y'all. When 9 times out of 10, these rappers that are successful, they have a 9 to 5 too. You feel me? And that was like the perspective that, of course, that would be lovely to live comfortably off of this. You know what I mean? That would be lovely. But majority cast is living, you know what I'm saying? They it's because times is hard, yo. Cast is living having a 9 to 5. But also the dope thing is, um, there's so much freedom
Yeah.
in the way you can sell music now. You know what I'm saying? You don't need a label. You don't need a machine. It depends on you of how much work are you willing to put, you know what I'm saying, to press up your own merch and this, that, and the third to accumulate that money to keep, you know what I'm saying, that type of lifestyle going. You know what I mean? So I do feel that we're living in a great time. They call it the hip-hop renaissance. I think we're living in a great time, yo, of music right now.
I think you're right in many ways in that regard. Like there are opportunities like you're touching on where folks can be creative with how they're doing it. But
Yeah.
I think with any slice of creativity, any creative pursuit, you got to want to do it. As you're saying, like,
Yes.
you've probably, if not longer, been doing the rap thing, pursuing rap, pursuing music, probably as long as I've been doing this podcast thing. It's 2009 for me to now.
Mm,
And
mm.
you know, you see it, and I see sort of the parallels, and not everyone's going to see those parallels of, you know, this was a genre, rap was a genre that was for folks that look like us. So it's
Right.
like music or what have you, and then you start seeing who's making the money off of it. But now, when that opportunity to maybe do things that are still rap and then maybe sort of hip hop culture adjacent, like having sort of a platform, having a podcast that has those sensibilities, having different types of media, having like film or what have you, things of that nature that are coming from a hip hop sensibility. I think it's even broader than that. And those are people who have the business savvy and who have the mindset around it versus just, I'm just going to do the rap thing, and
Right.
I think that right there is just like, yo, you grind, you did you did the grind thing, and now you're able to perhaps see some of these other interests that you have. So for you, music is obviously there. What are some of the other sort of associated interests that you have creatively? Like, you know, I like when people have the visuals. I like when people have sort of like the branding that's on point when it
Yeah,
comes to delivering their thing. It's like the music is there, but people eat with their eyes a lot of times. And I'm
right.
struggling to learn that with the for podcasts. So tell me about some of those sort of, additional creative things that you're into that influence you as a rapper.
Man, I'm really, really big on to individuals, man. I feel like, and I learned this from the homie Logic Marsalis, man, producer, partner of our brand Magnetic, and we just focus on visuals and just in art. You know what I mean? With a lot of my projects that I've released, they're all connected to '90s basketball, which I have a passion for.
Yes.
So whenever we and it's actually fun, man. Like whenever we pushing a project, like whenever the project, soon the joint is mixed and mastered, like me and Logic, we're like brainstorming, like, okay, how can we put this project out? How can this rollout be something that people will pay attention to? So we go as far as like, looking and researching for clips here and there and try to, intertwine that with visuals and drop it on Instagram. We love the VHS effect, yo. We definitely try to find stuff that's catered to, what we grew up on in the '90s. Well, especially for me, the way I push out stuff. So that's always the dope and fun aspect of it, man. I know I'll be getting on Logic's nerves because like my brain is always going. So he's like a real laid back one. He gets it done, but I'll hit him with like rapid fire ideas, like, man, more than like 3 times out of the day, yo. You know what I'm saying? Just from the rollout of a project, how the artwork should look, or what should we do as far as like the color of the tape cassette that we're going to sell for our merch. Like, I really care, yo, because if I'm presenting a project to somebody, especially a physical aspect of it, I want them to be like, yo, bro, that merch game, the packaging, the way it's presented, that means a lot, yo.
It's a thing that I think, and this is a really good point. It means a lot. Like if I try to be supportive where I can or what have you, and definitely either getting stuff from artists like buying like prints, buying different things, what have you. And sometimes I'm just like, I'm just gonna hit your Cash App. I don't give me anything, and it's more so like I'm very selective of what I have in my home. It's just a certain energy.
Right.
So when there is an intent, it's like I'm juggling two things. It's like one, supporting the creator, because I think that's important. But then two, also like, does this fit in what I have in the crib? I got a lot of stuff in here, like that's kind of cool. Some of it I just like, okay, I think one of my friends might like this print, or I think this thing that I got from this person, they might like it. But when someone is putting in intention and it clicks on that sensibility, like, what you're describing, I was like, I like VHS effects. I like, like I like good
Yeah,
content.
yeah.
And one of the things I wanted to do with this, because it's something retro about it, is having a very, 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 very exclusive one of one or one of 10 sort of interview, but put it on the tape and like send that out,
Nice.
because
That's
some of the
dope.
digital stuff almost becomes like, it's fine, we got it, but you know, having something that's a little different, it gives me that vibe of the that Wu-Tang album, the one that
Yeah,
Sterling or what have you. It gives me that sort of vibe. And I think it's something important about exclusivity and this sort of almost disposable. That's the way that we've been sold, that it's almost disposable. Um,
absolutely.
you just put it on Spotify. Hopefully somebody syncs it, and then here's your $3 or whatever. But it's like
Right.
when there's intent in it, and it's something that's in an article and almost an archival piece. That's the sweet spot. That's where you want to be at.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like my favorite. That's one of my favorite things of when when I'm releasing a project, yo, like after it's done, I'm always thinking about like, okay, how can we put this tape cassette out, like different colorways, the
Yeah.
vinyl, stuff like that, yo. Because again, that's a high commodity, and people, they pay good money, and it's a collector's item, yo. So I feel like every project I drop, man, is a collector's item. So I always try to figure out ways to, create some type of merch, to match the project.
What it describe for us that feeling when you've completed that project and it has sort of that full stamp on it. It's just like it's like the
Oh
Denzel
man.
line, right?
Yeah.
From American Gangster. It's just like, look, I endorse this. This is blue magic.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah, man. Yo. Oh man. It's it's definitely an overwhelming feeling after you finish a project. You're like, huh. Like literally after a project is done, like once it's like mixed, mastered, and it's put out to the world, like usually I'm like, oh, I'm always working. Every project I drop, I take a week off. Like I don't work on no music, no nothing. I take a week off to just chill, you know what I'm saying? What people are saying, you know what I mean? Like but the main thing is I need a break. I need a mental break. I just need to just chill out, yo. But yeah, man, that's the main thing I take very serious is just my time and just taking a break, yo.
it's it's one of those things where and I've applied this to the thing that I do because I think it's something that can be applied in many areas. Even
Mm-hmm.
it's a line like I used to listen to a lot of Currency, right? And
Oh,
I just remember he hit this line. He was like,
that life.
I write my winter raps in June. And I was like, yo, because it's that natural, sort of influence where you have, and I see it in podcasting because I teach podcasting now, right? And I see, you see those goofy clips on Instagram and it's like everything looks the same. There's nothing unique. There's nothing, bespoke and artisanal about it. So how do you, when, being a person that's a hip hop head, you're a fan of the
Right.
music, not just I'm
Yeah.
making music, but it's all you're in it. How is it like, what sort of like guardrails do you put in that you don't have sort of like what's trending and what's popping, what's going on right now, even from a music standpoint, but even from sort of the overall output culturally standpoint, how do you prevent that from inserting itself into what you do? Like that, what do those challenges look like?
Like I was speaking on earlier, Rob. We're living in that's what it's called the hip hop renaissance, right?
Yeah.
And cats like Rob Marciano who started this, you know, drumless rap, you know what I'm saying, cats rhyming over drumless beats, you know what I'm saying, layered samples, all that ish, man, which is dope. Like that's the stuff that I love, that's why I fell in love with, man. But it the content is a bit overwhelming, yo. Like, and I seen a few DJs. This is like last month, yo, arguing about cats. They call them Griselda rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like all these cats are sending the DJs like the same stuff. You're talking
Yeah.
about the same content, and you're rhyming on that same type of beat. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, give us something different. And I kind of had a feeling that that was going to happen, yo,
Mm-hmm.
because people are going to follow what's trendy. They, shouts out to Griselda, shouts out to West Side Gun and all that, yo, because a little bit of my influence was stem from them. You know what I'm saying? The way they move, the way they market their stuff. I got some of my ideas from them as well. So, but that's just what it is. When you can't, there's no way of avoiding it. So it's just like one of them things where it's bittersweet. We can't tell you, hey, stop. You can't continue to be doing that. But
Yeah.
we do acknowledge that this is happening. Like we do acknowledge that. And now is a good thing that certain DJs are saying, yo, stop sending us this stuff. Let's hear something else. We heard it all before.
It almost feels that should be another rapper's name. Heard it all before. It almost feels like it almost feels like AI, but as a person in that, write me a rap, write me like 48 bars that is reminiscent of this Griselda song. And it's like, yo, you are wildin'. And,
Right.
and then looking at it, I like that stuff. It definitely sets a mood for me. But when I go through and listen to what I'm listening to some of the wildest stuff and enjoying that and getting from that. And I'm like, yo, I look for the people that have some of the oddest samples, some of the things you're like, like, I'm
Yeah.
not ashamed to say it. At a point, I had a guy I follow. He does sports commentary and he's really funny. And he was listening to the Shitty Boys from like Detroit. And I was like,
Nice.
I like them. And they sample all of these old freestyle songs. They don't get the samples cleared, which makes me laugh because they're just scammers. But I was like, that's actually something. They're not great rappers per se, but it's like, I like this. This is disposable, but it slaps. And it's something that feels different, that feels off center, or what have you. And then when they have sort of those collaborations that come in, they have those that Detroit flow that comes in there. And I'm like, okay, this is absolutely what that is. And this is this hodgepodge and this vision. It all works. And they have all of the basketball references. It's basketball and wrestling references throughout. I was like,
That's
this is
dope.
great. They're all like children. They're like 20. And
Oh wow, that's dope.
it's like I like this stuff or what have you. And when someone puts a track on that seems real familiar, I'm like, I could just get it from the person that did it already, the real person, the person that's the
Right.
master of it. That's the
Right.
thing I want. So I got two more real questions for you before I go into those rapid fire ones. Um, so let's see, we got the challenges. Uh, I want to talk a little bit more about like sort of collaboration, whether it be from the branding standpoint, from the producer standpoint. As I touched on earlier, we have a mutual contact. Got Nick the Wonder. I went to school with him. Uh,
Word. Shout out to Nick.
and he briefly had me rapping. I'll tell you something about this. So Nick in high school at City, he used to wear Echo all the time. So me looking up to him, my rap name was Nam Mecca. So I used to always wear Mecca.
Oh,
Looked up to him so much. And I was rapping. I used to have the composition books with all of my rhymes in there. There's a few times teachers found it and then graded my raps. And I'm like, yo, this is wild. This is all Nick's indirectly. But talk about like finding sort of those collaborative partners and like what is it about those connections that really work? Like there are a lot of good people who make really dope music, who have a really good vision, but they might be dicks. It's like I can't work with this person, or their music is
right.
good, but I'm going to work with them to this degree. Tell me about like that for you. Like what does collaboration look like? What do you look like? What do you look for from it?
Um, well, when I first started like recording records,
Yeah.
my first collaboration album ever, rest in peace to my best friend, the God Knowledge. Rest in peace to that dude, good dude, man. But he was like the first dude that we did a whole album together, just one producer, one MC, and just from that on, I was like, I like this. You know what I'm saying? Like it was the sound is cohesiveness. It's just solid. I enjoyed the collaboration as far as just bouncing off ideas. You know what I'm saying? Like whether it be right or wrong, we're collaborating. You know what I'm saying? I may feel like something is ill. You may not feel that. I may feel like this beat ain't ill. You may feel, otherwise. You know what I'm saying? So just from there on, from the chemistry from there. And then through him, I ended up linking with Elijah Marsalis. We've been cool since 2008, man. And we've always been working on records. Same thing, feeling, like just the one solid sound and the cohesiveness, you know what I mean? And then from there on, like once I started working with him, I was just like, you know what? Every project that I do, I want to work with one producer. That's whenever I'm purchasing beats, I'm not purchasing like a one-off for someone. Like, nah, it's either like 6 or however the package is. Let's work. You know what I mean? And I just feel like if you're working with one producer, that the music just sounds better, yo.
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, big fan of Currency, and I'll say when I got on Currency, it was probably Covert Coup.
Oh, okay.
That's
That's
the whole
produced by
Alchemist album.
Alchemist, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's something about that format that I really dig because it is regular collaboration, and I'll say it almost has that energy like when you bring in, and it's granted, you have big budgets and all of this different stuff, and you bring in all of these different producers. It's almost like the Yankees. It's like I could just buy whoever. It's like the beat's hot. I don't know about these bars though, but
Right.
there's sort of like this rapper, this producer, this MC, this producer, it aligns. It's just like there is some thoughtfulness there. It's not just, hey, here's some things, do what you do. It's just like, no, we collaborated. We actually worked together and
Right.
we built out this like artistic expression. I think that's what that feels like a bit more. That's dope.
Absolutely.
So I got one more real question, and this is a
Okay.
nice way to tie back to one of the things we were talking about earlier. So could you speak on exploring and experimenting with new techniques? Like, in that, when do you know what to sort of like accept, like, okay, this is now part of my process, whether it be writing, whether it be sort of how you do a release, how you do your social media, whatever it may be, or when do you know when to abandon it? Like, when do you know when to insert it, and when do you know when to like, nah, I tried, it ain't gonna work, player.
Oh man, that's a great question. Now we talking about like as far as like with writing as well, like the
Yeah,
process
yeah,
too. Okay.
full thing, yeah,
Um, Man, I always with every project, yo, I'm always trying to work on different techniques as far as like writing. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be like, trying different double entendres and punchlines or layers, whatever. But it's so many like techniques. I try to, focus on one each day. You know what I mean? Like, or sometimes I may just freestyle it and just whatever hits me, I'm just writing it down, yo. But I have to write things down. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of took the MF Doom approach, yo. I heard that like MF Doom, what he used to do is he used to write his rhymes on sticky notes, and he like put them all around like his room, whatever. And then whenever he was ready to write a song, he would just take the sticky notes and put it together. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I actually kind of do is, I got like hundreds of one-liners, crazy punchlines like in my phone. Like, you know what I mean? Like stuff that you just don't think about on a daily basis. Like when it comes, yo, you know how you get that thought?
yeah.
And if you don't write that shit down,
Hmm.
that should have, yeah, yo. So, shout out to smartphones, man. But that's why I definitely be trying to work on is just trying to enhance my pen, man, because I feel like I definitely know I'm nice, but
Yeah.
I feel like I still got, you know what I mean? I still got a chip on my shoulder a little bit, yo. I feel like my pen isn't appreciated, yo, just yet. For real.
I hear you. And having the note, that's good. Having like I'm always I get made fun of because I always have either a notepad or something on. I like writing it. I can't, like the phone
Okay.
pulls it out. It's like I'm gonna be self-editing, and it's like, why did I put that goofy line in there? I think you look too clean when you're, or even for me, the version of me writing a rhyme, and I still occasionally write rhymes here and there, but for me, it's still writing down questions, something off the top,
Oh,
like that question I just asked you. That was something that I was like, yo, no, I want to know that. I want to know that from someone. Like we always talk about process and all of this. It's just like, yeah, what do you insert and what do you take out? Like, how do you like reflect on
right.
the
Oh,
process?
man.
Yeah.
And to speak on that, yo, it's like I always, because usually it depends on my mood, yo. 90% of the time, I'm not writing to the beat, right? I'm just writing it, and then when I get to the beat, like I have, all right, this is the rhyme that I'm writing for this beat, but I'm not playing it. You know what I'm saying? I already know in my mind, oh, yo, this is for this beat.
Yeah.
So then when I work on the rhyme, you know what I'm saying, see if I can be in that pocket. Sometimes, yo, I'll say some shit and I'll be like, fuck, it doesn't fit. Like,
Yeah.
and I get so angry, yo. Like, yo, this line was so sick, but it's not fitting. And those be the hurtful moments. And I don't know, from a writer to a writer,
I got you.
those are hurtful moments, yo. Like when you want to use a line and you be like, fudge, man. You be like, all right, I could just put this in my back pocket, save it for another time. It ain't fit for this one.
And I'll close on this. And this is a good thing where it was at one point where we had I like to troll a little bit, and I
Okay.
was doing another podcast, and I was going to do an interview. I was going to do a lot of overdubbing. I was going to do an interview. Me and my co-host at the time, we were going to interview ourselves in our rap personas. That's what we were going to do. And we did like 3 joints. We did 3 songs. I wrote the rhymes for both of us, and I was trying to match his sensibilities and all of this different stuff or what have you. Like, something is this something he would say? And it turned out to be decent. It turned out to be decent, and we just never went forward. So we had like basically 3 songs, 3 full-length songs for a podcast that we were going to do interviewing ourselves, and we just never really did it. So
Wow.
that whole process of trying to, I talk a certain way, he talks a certain way, so trying to fit that in and think about how would someone else say this. I'm like, I
Yeah.
want this to sound like me, in this persona. This
Nah,
is getting meta
man.
level deep. This is Inception level shit.
That's
Yeah.
wild, yo. That's wild.
Yeah, it's you try to have fun with it, and but yeah, that's sort of my thinking there, and it's I just like when people just get weird and they just I enjoy, for lack of a better term, the black weirdo. I enjoy
Yeah.
that, and I try to embrace that myself. Um, so I want to move into these last four rapid fire questions. So
Okay.
as I tell everybody, don't overthink these. All right. So this is the first one.
Okay.
When you recorded your first song, so think about like whenever you deem it, this was like first legit You'll Never Know joint. What was the biggest rapper of that year?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I recorded like this is ever like ever like my first song ever.
Yes.
Yo, that's wow. Jeez. Yo, it was wow,
Coming out
bro.
swinging.
Damn. That shit threw me for a loop. Yo, you know what? It was 50 Cent.
That's legit. That's
Yeah,
legit.
it was 50 Cent. It was 50 Cent. I was going to say Prodigy because like the first song that I recorded to was a Keep It Thorough beat.
Oh yeah, everyone had like a yeah.
Yeah, yo. But nah, yo, it definitely. I was going to say Jay-Z because Jay-Z always had a good year. You know what I mean? But yeah, but definitely 50 Cent, yo.
Queens get the money. I mean, here's the thing.
Right.
Like
Right.
during that time, I was walking around with a wild chin strap and a
Oh,
headband
wow.
and cornrows. It was a wild existence. Uh, all right. This is the next one. What is your favorite time? And it can be time during season, it could be time during the day, but what is your favorite time to create, to really lock in?
Man, definitely like middle of the day, like midday. Yeah, midday or at night, especially if I roll up something.
Yeah.
Like yeah. But also like seasons. We talk about weather. You're the
Yeah.
best time. I feel like I'm at my best, like as an MC during the fall. I don't know for some reason in the fall. I don't know if it's because of like the gloominess or whatever, but I'm always like I'm on one. I notice that a lot.
I peep that. Like I used to really like because I'm a January kid. I used to
Okay.
always like sort of those months leading into that new year, that fourth quarter, generally
Yeah.
fall. For some reason, it's just like the creative energy, and it's been that way for since probably high school. That is like, nah, I got something I'm cooking up. I don't know what it is, but I'm cooking up something, and I don't know. It's just something about that. I think that's legit. Uh,
Word.
so I got to ask this. I'm curious. So, studio, working, writing, the whole process, trying to fit those lines, in there when they might not quite fit can be very
Right.
challenging, as you touched on. What is what is that comfort meal for you? Like, I like to get a sense of what people like to eat. What is that comfort meal for you?
You said comfort meal.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So you're asking me what I like to eat as far as a comfort meal?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Sheesh, man.
We like to get into the psyche of the people, man.
Yo, the comfort meal. Yo, you know what? A good comfort meal, yo, is some I got two. I got two. Some
Go on.
jerk beans, and some charbroiled oysters, yo. Straight up.
It's a good combo. I like it.
Straight up.
I
Yep.
mean, as a person that's diving into like doing beans in a lot of different ways, I'm gonna have to try those jerk beans.
Bro, yo, when we get off air, yo, I'm gonna hit you with the ingredients and all that. Don't worry, I
That's a
got you.
bet. That's a bet. This is the last one, and this just aligns with sort of theme, right?
Okay, okay, okay.
Um, is rap, hip hop, those are used interchangeably in this scenario? Is it black music?
Man, you know what? I feel like just the origins of we know where it started at, right?
Yeah.
But that is worldwide. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like it's worldwide. Even though that we started it, I can't say that it's a black thing because, like I told you earlier, yo, a person, an Asian dude helped me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like freestyle, a culture that was created by us.
Yeah.
Somebody from another descent taught me how to freestyle. You get what I'm saying? That's hip hop.
So it's grown to be inclusive in that way.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, man. And don't I was guilty in the beginning of being caught up. Like, I thought when I first listened to hip hop, I thought it was just East Coast, West Coast. Like, that's what I thought. East Coast, West Coast. I didn't know there was a South. I didn't know there was a Midwest. And now it's just like, yo, because I used to be at a time where I if you wasn't from the East Coast, I wasn't listening to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you wasn't on the East Coast, I wasn't listening to you. But then as I got older and, you know, my taste for music started changing, it just went up from there, yo. And Blue, BLU from the West Coast, he changed that. When I heard Below the Heavens, I was like, oh, yo, these West Coast niggas, they got some MCs. Yeah, I was tapped in.
I'll close on this, and that's a great answer. It's a refined answer. It's not one of those. It's a world music. It's just like, no, these are the roots, and it's inclusive, you know. And I'll say, I used to burn my own CDs back in the day, and I used to call the mixtape. And I would just have like, this is basically what I recently listened to on Spotify, but this is pre-Spotify, and that begot a podcast called "I'll Put You On To." And Put You On To podcast was like 2010, 2011. So this is early Kendrick. This is Dom Kennedy. This is Big Crit. I'm naming some people. You know, this was like Mac Miller. These were all of these people. And the kind of the thing that you touched on earlier, it's like, I want people to know about them. It was that. And I just remember the first time I heard Fat Rap's remix, lost my goddamn mind. It slapped so hard, and that's a Cleveland dude. That's Chip the Ripper.
That's dope.
So that's pretty much it. I think that's a good spot for us to close on this dope conversation, man. So there's two things I want to do. One, I want to thank you for coming on and spending some time on this podcast.
Man, thank you, man, for having me.
Absolutely, bro. And two, I want to invite and encourage you to tell the fine folks where they can check you out. All things you'll never know. The floor is yours.
Peace, man. I'm everywhere on social media. That's You'll Never Know. It's UllNevaNo, hip hop, all one word. I am everywhere. Concords is out right now. Shout out to Elijah Marsalis. More music on the way. Playground Legend coming soon. Shout out to Rob, man.
And there you have it, folks. I want to again thank You'll Never Know for coming on and blessing us on the podcast. And I'm Rob Lee, saying that there's art, culture, and community in and around your neck of the woods. You've just got to look for it.